Good evening to all of you. Before we start today's session, there are certain things which I would like to explain. First, about uh, the interview. Nishant had asked a few questions. Uh, the first thing that he asked was about the facial expression that one should have in the interview and how should one keep a positive uh, expression. See, your expression depends upon your thought. So it's better to have a very positive thought. You should be happy that you have got an opportunity to face the interview and express yourself. Uh, and interview is all about you. So you are the best person to answer those questions. Uh, so once you get into this mode of thought, your expressions will be fine. And please don't put any artificial expression. That's not recommended at all. Be comfortable with yourself. That's more important. Second thing that he asked is, in an interview, should we shift? From a topic which you don't know to a topic which you know. See, it depends upon the interviewer, what question he has asked, and without answering that, if you shift, it's not recommended. You need to address the question that is put in front of you. Uh, Vishwas and Manish, welcome to the class. Uh, See, the second thing that he said was he gets angry because people don't listen to him. People are not willing to listen to him. See, this always happens with us. We want to convey certain things. People have their own opinions. People have their own way of thinking. So we may get jittery and we may feel angry about it, but we have to believe one thing, that we cannot change people and their thoughts by forcing them. So it's always advisable that you listen to them and give your arguments as comfortably as possible, and you don't have to force your thoughts, your beliefs on others. Fine. You remain logical, you remain rational in your approach. There is no need to force your things on others. And don't think that you can change somebody's thought in first, second meetings and interactions. And don't ever think that people will appreciate your wonderful ideas and logics and reasons. It's not necessary. So, given a chance to express yourself, do express, but don't force your ideas on others. That's not recommended at all. Uh, Vishwas had asked about the uniform civil code. Welcome to the class, Hari and Simran. Um, Vishwas has asked about the uniform civil code. I'll be explaining that. It's very important to understand that. But there are certain questions which are still need to be addressed. Nishant had repeated the question that why Haryana lacks tourism. See, I had responded in the previous video also, that for tourism you need certain things. I mean, you need to have some natural beauty. That is first attraction, or second, some historical, archaeologically important places and things, or something which the government and people have created for the purpose of tourism. As far as Haryana is concerned, we don't have any such big natural beauty which we can market. And secondly, archaeological site, yes, we do have, but it's not marketed for tourism. We don't have that kind of infrastructure for marketing our archaeological things for tourism. Third thing is, Haryana has not created anything which can be marketed as tourist spots. So the stress on tourism is very less in Haryana. Coming to, I think Ashish had asked, this question gets repeated again and again, that the effect of coronavirus and in respect to CPEC, the China, Pakistan, and the economic corridor, OBOR. So you see, As far as the CPEC, I mean, Sanket had also asked this particular question. See, if you look at what is happening right now at the world level, uh, China has started manufacturing. China has started its industrial production. We know that rest of the world is still struggling, fine, but China has started. Spain has put up one of the biggest orders for medical equipments and things to China, $450 million some orders. So China is back into its business. It will take some time to attain the same level, but they're back into the business. So all these saying that China will be down because of this thing and countries will isolate China. I don't think that coming so soon. Uh, and as far as medicine is concerned, China is the provider of the biggest raw material for the Indian pharmaceutical industry, and obviously we need that. So once things start normalizing, I mean, we'll go back to the same level of business. Plus, you see, even those who are into the printing business, they were also talking about the uh, the printing raw material getting imported from China. So we are dependent on China on many things for our own industry. So you cannot simply bypass China just because of the coronavirus issue and scare. Uh, so we need to be very clear that with time it will improve and it will improve with time. But as far as the foreign policy and local dependency on China for everything, the foreign policy is a strange thing. You see, it depends upon the country's economic power. It depends upon the country's military might. It depends upon the country's say on international issues. So I do expect that China's position in those things, uh, I don't think it is going to diminish. With time, it will improve and things will normalize. That's what I expect. Welcome to the class, Simran. Uh, Vishwas had asked me about the Uniform Civil Code. This is an important topic as far as those who are going for the SSB. It's a topic of lecturate, it's a topic for discussion. And with time, I think this topic will come into prominence again. So we need to understand what is this Uniform Civil Code. I'll explain it to you. Civil law. Civil law is meant for the issues of marriage, property, inheritance, all those issues. So we have a uniform law when it comes to criminal activities, but as far as the law regarding marriage and property and inheritance is concerned, we have separate laws depending upon one's religious and cultural practices. So we have the Hindu Marriage Act, we have the Muslim Marriage Act, we have the Christian Marriage Act. So the differences are there. The problem is it may not be because they follow tradition. And traditionally, we're not giving justice to all. You see, there are gender-based discriminations and things. If you look at the Hindu Marriage Act, so you'll realize that in Hindu Marriage Act, the permission of the girl was not necessary. It's the parents who used to decide. At the same time, inheritance of family property. So with time, we have improved upon it as far as the Hindu Marriage Act is concerned. Girls, they could not demand for sharing family property unless and until the division is already taking place. You know? So in Muslim Marriage Act, for example, they could not adopt a child who is not born within their relationship, within their relations. So these kind of discrimination exists in Christian Marriage Act. You see, you cannot donate your property to anyone who's outside the family, even if you don't want to give it to your own relatives. So these kind of things existed. Fine. So what Nehru did was he introduced the Special Marriage Act, and Special Marriage Act gives equality in all forms. And he expected that with education and exposure, people will automatically shift towards getting married under the Special Marriage Act, and slowly we'll have a uniform civil code. Uh, but probably he miscalculated that, and he did not survive to actually get the thing rolling towards the uniform civil code. So what happened was, there was a problem. I mean, somebody who married under the Special Marriage Act, when it came to inheritance, the court asked the government what should be followed. So the government of the day simply said that, as far as that the government may be forcing the Hindu Marriage Act and Hindu Succession Act on other religions in the name of Uniform Civil Code. So they started opposing it. They started doubting about it. Fine. So the best way to go for Uniform Civil Code is that let it be optional for people. Like in the state of Goa, they do have Uniform Civil Code, but it is a voluntary kind of a thing. Those who want to get married under the Uniform Civil Code are most welcome for that. So this is how it happens. Right? But the question asked is, do we need a uniform civil code, and is it very important for the unity and integrity of this country? The answer is not exactly, because we have so many differences and things. If you want equality to be there, all that you have to make sure, all that you have to ensure is there should be gender equality in all the laws. If you are able to do this much, then probably the need for a separate uniform civil code may not be there. So that is the thing. Second, is it good if you have a uniform civil code? I will say yes, of course it is good. And people should have that option to go for uniform civil code. So, does it affect the rights of any religion? I don't think so. Because you see, every religion, with time, you need to improve upon certain things. And if that is happening, I mean, there is no issue. So, people can have uniform civil code, there is no issue with that. So, that's the question which Vishwas had posed. And what are the challenges if women rights in different personal laws, and how uniform civil code will address those issues? Uniform civil code will ensure that they get their due rights. Fine, and it's important that people do get their due rights. See, I had responded to, I posted a video on the issue of fascism, and there was some things, I mean, some responses were there. One of the responses was that family, we should not compare family with fascist ideology and things. So I would like to clarify and make it very, very clear that why do we compare this with the family? Because whatever we see in our society is a reflection of the family in one form or the other. Secondly, the family carries all those tendencies. Okay, and the concept that in a family everyone discusses and there is a collective kind of a decision making is largely a myth. Fine. And the expertise of individuals are used in the family. Again, that is also a big myth, because in a patriarchal family, generally it is the father who takes the decisions, and he may or he may not consult with the family members. Fine. So a kind of totalitarian concept exists in the family. Fine. Fascism, I made it very clear in the video that uh, some people do consider it as a form of ideology, but it is not an ideology. It is actually a method which is employed to attain power. Fine. So what is that method? And does that kind of method exist in a family? Yes, of course it exists. But what are the salient features of that method? You see, the salient feature of that method is uh, an all-knowing, all-supreme individual who has who should be given the absolute right to take one's decision. Welcome to the class, Sanket. So you can write down your questions, if you can shoot down your questions if you have any, so that I can respond to that. So so one should be very clear about the concept of family. uh, we have discussed it time and again in the class that your constitution gives you more rights as compared to your family, and that stands true. And do we have the same kind of family throughout this country? The answer is no. The concept of family varies. We have matrilineal families, we have families where a lot of collective decisions are being made. So we cannot generalize on the concept of family. But yes, if you largely look at the patriarchal system of family that we are following, yes, there is a problem with that. Anyway, Sanket had posted a question regarding Kashmir and the issue of Kashmir, and whether the China-Pakistan economic corridor has an impact on that and our own country. Fine. Although from the Pakistan side, the Kashmir issue is all about India not allowing the Kashmiris to decide about the future. From the Indian side, the issue is cross-border terrorism. But in between, what is the issue? We need to ask the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Fine. So we'll come to know the exact problem. As far as the China-Pakistan economic corridor is concerned, that is going to build up the relationship of China and Pakistan. They are building up roads and things, and the OBR stuff also we have discussed in the class. I've made it very clear that the development of road is actually not very productive when it comes to developing international trade. Why? Primarily because the road transport system is a very costly system. So it increases the cost. The cheapest mode of transport for international business is the riverway, waterways, particularly the sea route. That is the cheapest means. If you go by the road, it will increase the cost manifold. So this entire OBR stuff is actually the brainchild of China to expand its reach. And of course, China is closing on India from all sides. So this economic corridor will help in China in consolidating that area. Fine, that is agreed. So it may have future significances. But as far as Kashmir is concerned, lot many things depends upon how we are handling Kashmir. And if I say it clearly, the way we have handled Kashmir is not a very good way of handling. Primarily, the way we removed Article 370. It's a fact that even if the Article 370 existed, almost 90% of that article was defunct. So whether it remained or whether it was removed would not have had any impact on the people of Jammu and Kashmir. But the way we removed it, it had its own psychological impact. And secondly, the kind of excuses that we gave to remove it, many of the excuses that we gave doesn't stand scrutiny. Uh, so, uh, Manish is asking that what could be the peace measures in J&K from our side. See, Manish, no peace measure can work without addressing the needs and issues of the people. What is the issue that the people of Jammu and Kashmir is facing right now? Here we are all in a lockdown situation, but at least we have access to internet facilities. Even I'm using that to somewhat get into touch with you people. The Kashmiris don't have that. They are stuck up with the 2G stuff. I'm having a 4G connection. I'm having a landline broadband connection. Then also the net connectivity is pathetic at times. So just imagine them. I mean, in what conditions they are. So how are we treating them? Fine. As far as Article 370 is concerned, the government gave 3-4 reasons, and those 3-4 reasons doesn't stand scrutiny. The first reason that they gave was the implementation of RTI, Right to Information Act. RTI was implemented in Jammu and Kashmir in 2004, and whereas in rest of the country we had RTI in 2005. So that means they implemented it almost a year in advance. And their RTI was much more explicit as compared to our RTI. Fine. So let us not compare that. Then the issue of RTE, Right to Education Act. RTE, you see, in Jammu and Kashmir, the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir guaranteed free education till university level. So under RTE, we are guaranteeing education from 6 to 14 years. So which one is better? We can make it out. Fine. And the what people generally say is that is the developmental part. See, there was no restriction on having development in Jammu and Kashmir just because Article 370 was there. Big companies, they used to have their offices, manufacturing units in Srinagar and around. UP, Bihar, they don't have Article 370, but why they are not developing economically? And in many of the ratings, in HDI, Human Development Index ratings of the central government only, Jammu and Kashmir has done much better in health indicators and other indicators. So let us not say that they were lacking in development, so removal of Article 370 was required. This constant argument about 5 lakh Hindus being thrown out of JNK, see, please try to understand. There was a time of that was a time of insurgency in Kashmir. Okay, there was a governor, Jagmohan. In the center, there was a government which was supported by the BJP. Fine. So those people. Uh, uh, See, those people did not prevent the exodus of the Kashmiri people. Fine. Now we have this government for the last 6 years. Have they tried to rehabilitate those Kashmiris there? The answer is no. They are simply using that argument for political reasons. Many of those Kashmiris who went out of Kashmir, they got settled in different places. They have their own. Those who want to go, they should be encouraged, and government should support them. There is no doubt about that. But the kind of situation that has emerged now, I mean, I don't think even they will feel very safe to go back. Sanket, the question that you have written is, if India conquer over the whole Kashmir, will it benefit over oil deal with Middle East? I mean, first and the most important thing, if Kashmir is a part of India, where is the question of conquering it comes? It does not come. Fine. And secondly, it's not about conquering, it's about those people should feel a part of India. And if they should feel part of India, we need to treat them like that. Fine. It's a matter of emotions, you see. And secondly, it has nothing to do with the oil deal with the Middle East. Fine. Even after removal of Article 370, the European Parliament, they were passing resolution against it. Rest of the world, many countries spoke against it. But then also, we were having excellent business relationship with the Middle East. It hardly affected. Fine, because those are decisions made in terms of businesses. It has nothing to do with Kashmir and the Kashmir policy that the government was following. Fine. Uh, See, even if Manish, people's mind have been programmed to look Kashmiris like that, somewhere we need to we need to think from the point of view of that whether it is correct or wrong. The answer is, it is a wrong assumption that if you force the Kashmiris to be part of Indian territory, no people with some self-respect will be able to take it. You imagine sitting in Haryana. If I say that this I decide about Haryana without involving the people of Haryana, how will they feel? And what kind of reactions will be there? So instead of looking at the issue from a distant view, we should think by connecting with them and involving with them. Sanket is asking, so it's about POK which connects with Afghanistan. So it's again a mistake, because obviously the border connects with Afghanistan. So it's the border of Afghanistan is getting connected with the border of Pakistan, not with India. So we can, of course, emotionally claim that POK is part of India. But do you think that people of POK can enter India without any restriction? No, that is not the case because we don't consider them to be part of India. So it's the borders are manned by the Pakistani forces. So India has nothing to do with the POK border which connects with Pakistan. Fine. But the change that is happening in Afghanistan, American forces getting out, and the Taliban getting a lot of importance, there can be some drastic changes there, which may have repercussions even in Kashmir. So you need to look at it like this. Fine. Rest. I mean, there are other questions which I would like to handle. Uh, See, when it comes to interview, there are certain things that you people need to develop right now. See, this entire lock-in period. I mean, many people are getting bored, and many people feel that they don't get the energy to work and prepare for the interviews as such. See, if we leave everything on the circumstances, on things around us, then obviously the circumstances will be very heavy on us. Fine. So we have to make certain decisions. Fine. How can we keep ourselves pepped up and prepared for the interviews? You look at this issue from this point of view. Now you have all the time, and for that, if you need some help, if you want to talk to me, please do talk to me. Or if you think you need to write down the questions, things which is troubling you, write it down. You can share it with me. Or if you want me to address those things in these sessions, I'll love to take those questions also. So it's very important to pep up yourself. Fine. And for this, don't be dependent on people around you, because people around you may feel lethargic about being at home. Okay. They may give you horrible expressions like the expression that Zenith is giving sitting in front of me. Fine. So what happens is, when you have a lot of time, the chances of wasting that time is more. Fine. So you should take it as an opportunity when you need to work on your limitations. Fine. Most of you people who have been in the classes, they need to seriously work on their communication skill part, because that communication skill is the doorway which has to be open to enter into the rest of the fight. Fine. So how can you improve your communication skills? Of course, information knowledge is one aspect, but for that you need to work on your presentation part. Fine. So that basic things I've told you. You stand up in front of a mirror and practice. Organize yourself. Fine. More than that, in between, this is a golden opportunity for you people to read fiction. It's very important. Without reading fiction, you will not develop ideas. You will not be creative. And that is very much required at the SSB centers. How will you write a story if you have not read a story? In the interview, sometimes we ask about hobbies and interest. And some people say, my hobby is writing poetry. So the next question that we ask is not what kind of poetry he writes. We ask him what kind of poetry he has read. And if the answer comes, I have not read any, so that means he doesn't write also well. So if you are interested in writing poetry, definitely you should be interested in reading good poetry also. So this is a golden opportunity for you people to read a lot of fiction. Try to start with short stories, then go for the novels and things. Read it in pieces. Slowly you'll develop that interest. Fine. And that's very much required. Fine. And because when you are reading a fiction, you are actually visualizing that thing. So your ability to visualize increases. You increase your vocabulary will increase. Your expression will improve. Fine. And these days you can use the YouTube for listening to different lectures also. But this is how you improve. You work on yourself. So I don't get this thing that how can you afford to get bored? There is no chance that you can be bored. You should work on yourself, and this is how you make it interesting. Na? What you're working on, you read things of your interest, you visualize things of your interest, but don't start practicing those psychological tests, because that will do you more harm right now. Because psychological test practices, we will start once the due dates are there, not before that. I don't want you to be coached in your responses. Fine. To get a good natural response, it is very important that you read good stuff. You can watch good films too. Okay. If you keep watching those Salman Khan films and reading those Chetan Bhagat novels, you will reach nowhere. You will lose whatever small little understanding you people have. Fine. So instead of those Chetan Bhagat stuffs and Salman Khan book films, these stuff, watch some quality films. And I am aware that you people know what quality films are all about. Fine, and there are some classics too. Why don't you go for that? So where the hell will you find time to get bored? There is no reason to. You don't have the reason and time to be bored. These are small little excuses which happens because you're not interacting with people when you are face to face, because that is how we have learned things. So for the time being, that is not there. So use this time productively and read good stuff, watch good films, watch good documentaries. Okay? And whatever you see, look, watch, do write do write down certain things, jot down some points, right? So that is how, and if possible, talk about it, whatever you have read, whatever you have watched. So that's how you build up yourself. That's very much required. Sanket is asking, do watching series will help? It depends upon what kind of series do you watch. If you're watching those Netflix series, Sacred Games and things, I don't think you'll end up becoming a problem. You see, the kind of stories that will pop up from your mind can be devastating at the SSB centers. So it depends upon what kind of series do you watch. Even now, if you watch those Malgudi days on YouTube, it will be 100 times better than anything else. Hmm? Uh, you can watch this Malgudi days on YouTube. Shantanu is asking, so please name some fictions. So I'll come to that, but there are certain things which you can watch on YouTube. One of them is Malgudi Days by R.K. Narayan, and you can watch that. It's a very good series. The second one is there is a novel by Bhishma Sahani, Tamas. A novel by Bhishma Sahani, and the novel is Tamas. Uh, you'll find a film by the name of Tamas by uh, I could not remember the director's name, but if you search for Bhishma Sahni's Tamas on YouTube, the chances are you may find that film also. So that's a classic, you see. It's about the partition. So you'll get to know certain things. The best series that you should watch, Sanket, is Discovery of India by Jawaharlal Nehru. Fine. So you watch that series, you'll understand history, you'll get good ideas. Fine. That's one thing which you can watch. Again, I'm repeating, you can watch Malgudi Days, you can watch Discovery of India, watch Tamas if possible. Fine. As far as fiction is concerned, please read R.K. Narayanan's novels. They're much better. Maybe Bachelor of Arts. You can read that. To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a classic. Fine. Yes, Kamal, you're right. It's Govind Nehlani. Govind Nehlani's Tamas. So it's a wonderful film. If you are able to watch that, it will increase your understanding. Uh, then, of course, some things are for fun also. I mean, you can watch Jane Bhi Do Yaro. We watched it recently. That's India's first and only black comedy which is available. It's there on YouTube. You can watch it. Uh, these are some of the things which you need to watch. As far as novels are concerned, I mean, you can watch, you can read Thousand Splendid Sun by Khalid Hosseini, because Thousand Splendid Sun is such a novel which will give you a very good understanding of the society in Afghanistan under Taliban. Fine. So that you can obviously read. Fine. Uh, do watching series like Vocal and Special Ops will help? No, not at all. Primarily because you see there is a hell lot of exaggeration in these series. You tend to become very rigid. We don't want that, because at the SSB center what they're looking for is people who are trainable. So watching these kind of stuff, you almost become one, and then your responses are such as if you are part of the special operation team. I don't want that. Relax. Fine. These are entertainment stuff. For entertainment purpose, you want to watch this, watch. But let these things not affect the way you think. For that, you need to watch some classics, which we have named. Fine. That's very important. Okay. So these are the things which you need to watch. At the same time, these are also times when you can read the paper, and now every newspaper is available in that format. So let it be the Hindu, let it be the Indian Express. Okay. So you go through the opinion columns, read it, have your own analysis, write your own assessment. That is how you develop your own ideas. So you read something, and if you don't think about it, and if you don't write about it, then obviously that thing will never be a part of you. Fine. So to join the defense services, you don't have to watch all the war movies only. Fine. That is no way. Uh, there are certain very good classic films which are available on war. You have Hakikat, the old one, which you can watch about China war, and you can watch a film called Garam Hawa also, and you can also watch Platoon. That gives you the human side of war. Right. So you need to watch these things rather than watching those stuff which glamorizes it, which makes it kind of a special kind of thing. You should not go for that. Fine. So these are the things which you should watch, you should read to develop your own self. Okay. And as far as uh, the conduct, your own conduct is concerned, uh, it's very much required that your thought should be clear. And to have a clear thought, it's very important to think straight. Right? Don't try to plan out things. I mean, when you try to plot your way into the SSB, you flop. Fine. People do deliberate things. They plan it out कि I'll say this, मैं ये कह दूंगा, मैं ऐसे कह दूंगा, ये नई कहानियां मैंने अपने बारे में बनाई, अपने पिताजी के बारे में बनाई, और इसको मैं रख दूंगा. ऐसी किसी चीज की जरूरत नहीं है. Be natural, be normal, be confident about who you are. That's good enough. Right? So I think today's session we can wind it up. If you have any questions still, you can pop it up within a few minutes, and then we'll be winding up this session of today. Uh, so please name some few more novels. Yes, Zenith had suggested me a few novels which I've not gone through, but they're not classics. They're interesting stuff. You can go through Alex Rider. It's required for them. Alex Rider. Who's the writer? It's Anthony Horowitz. Anthony Horowitz, the Alex Rider. It's a kind of a suspense fiction stuff, so you can go through that. Fine. But more or less, I mean, few fiction I've already suggested. So, I mean, it's difficult to get those fictions right now. No? You cannot order it on Amazon unless until you order it in the Kindle format. Then it is fine. Fine. Rest, I'll be posting certain novels, name of few novels on the group. Fine. So we'll wind up this class here today. We'll catch up day after tomorrow on Monday, same time. Thank you.